The battle readiness of the Nigerian military has never been in doubt, but the question of over-adequate equipment to prosecute the war against insurgency has been constant. But the story may be different now. The Nigerian army is set for the final push against Boko Haram fighters with the acquisition of numerous armored tanks, Humvees and other armored vehicles. The army offered Babajide Kolade-Otitoju exclusive and extensive access to some weapons being used for the war against terror. In the process, Babajide became the first civilian to enjoy the ride in two of the war machines. Let's share the story with you.
On December the 27th, 2021, I visited the headquarters of Operation Hardin K at Maimalari Cantonment, Maiduguri, to see the area of weapons the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari had acquired for the Nigerian army to enable it to win the war against terror. I was received by the theater commander, Major General Christopher Musa, and his men, who granted me exclusive access to the array of fighting vehicles at the theater command. The theater commander led me to the tank shed, where I got the opportunity to look at the deadly weapons at the disposal of our surface troops, beginning with the Chinese-built VP-1 Type 89 armored personnel carrier. Nigeria received 60 of these tracked APCs recently. The VP-1 Type 89 armored personnel carrier has a combat weight of 14.5 tons and can carry 13 soldiers, in addition to the driver and the commander. The Nigerian Army proceeded to construct a turret so as to provide protection for the gunner. I got a chance to experience what it feels like to ride in the VP-1 Type 89 armored personnel carrier. For my ride in one of the newly acquired Chinese-built VP-1 armored personnel carrier acquired by the Buhari administration to make the task of the army easier in the war against terror in Nigeria's northeast. So they are leading me to the armored personnel carrier that I'm going to have a jolly good ride in this windy afternoon in Maiduguri. I enjoyed the ride. Yes, the dusty but pleasant ride in the VP-1 Type 89 Chinese-built armored personnel carrier of the Nigerian Army. The theater commander affirmed that with the equipment he has now, the army will secure victory over the enemy. He added that he has no favorite armored vehicle.
For me, first and foremost, I would rather have a good fighting force. I get good troops first, because it is the individual that is the most dangerous equipment, not the main equipment themselves. They aid, but the man, because the heart of the man is what does the fight. So I have that. These equipments we have can give us what we need. We don't need those other Abraham tanks and whatever. With this and with the troops we're having now, we're good to go.
He also spoke on the difficulty the army faces in conducting clearance operations in communities where Boko Haram elements maintain some presence.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy. If you want to conduct clearance operation, you might need to relocate the locals within the area, and people living their locations, sometimes you find it very difficult to do that. But we take time to try and make them realize that it is for their own good, whatever it is we're doing. And so that adds to some of the difficulties. For everyone to leave his area to move to another location is one thing that creates a certain level of problems. But the good thing we have now is that we have better understanding. Mediums like this affords them to really understand what we are doing. And we can see a lot of support from the community, which in those days, in the past, had been very difficult. But now they have seen our level of sincerity. They have seen that we are professional, we treat everybody humanely, and we see a lot of difference.
He is excited about the synergy between the current service chiefs. He is also excited about the impact new equipment are making on the operations being conducted by the army.
For the months since they came into command, we've not had any dislocation of any location, any of our locations. Why? Because the troops have seen the sincerity of purpose. They have seen the cooperation between the service chiefs. Routine luncheons that the service chiefs come. Normally the army will go to army and then the Air Force goes to Air Force. But this time around, the Air Force and the army came to the army, and we finished and went to the Air Force. So you can see now whatever it is that we're doing, we now understand, and that's why it is Operation Hadinkai. Operation Hadinkai means we need everybody. There is no one service, there is no one parastatal that can do this alone. We need everybody, including the locals, that everybody has a part to play for us to succeed, and that's why we're having the success. So it's really very good. We fight together, we move in together, we discuss for whatever it is we want to do, so that everybody is in the know what part is supposed to play. And I think that's making the difference now. Troops have seen that things have changed. Now this equipment they've been looking for are readily available, and they can see them. It's not hearsay that we're buying and you have been waiting for years, waiting for them to come. They're already here. A few of them that have come already, we have distributed them to locations, and we can see the impact. Them being at those locations has really put the fear of God in this, and that's why I see more people. Like I said, we have over 23,000 that have surrendered. People have seen, they realize now that they cannot win this war. The best thing is to make peace, come out from the bushes and from the jungles, and then come and live a normal life. And that's why you see that we're succeeding.
One of my favorite weapons in the inventory of the Nigerian Army is popularly called 40 barrels. It is one of the most prized assets of the artillery corps of the Nigerian Army. It has a maximum range of 20.4 kilometers, has 40 tubes with the engagement area of its 40 rockets spanning 3 hectares. Each of its rockets weighs 63.35 kilograms, and the full salvo time is just 20 seconds. We then moved elsewhere within the theater headquarters, where I saw an array of armored 4x4 infantry vehicles, transport vehicles, ambulances, and others recently acquired by the army. Behind me are brand new 4x4 multifunctional infantry vehicles. These vehicles have thick armor and meant to help the army deliver a killer blow to the enemies of the Nigerian state, disturbing the peace of our people in the northeast. I have with me the theater commander, Major General Musa. Theater commander, tell us a few things about these vehicles.
Okay, like you mentioned, they are multipurpose for the infantry. They are meant to deliver the infantry through or close to the enemy. You can see the ground clearance very wide, so it can go cross country. So it is good for urban operations, it is good for rural operations, it is good across country. It offers protection for light weapons up to 12.7 at close range.
Yeah.
It has mounted a 12.7 mm anti-aircraft gun that with the gunner that's in. Every the crew inside, you have 5 of them. You have the gunner, the driver, the commander, and 2 other extra personnel that are in.
No.
They move closer, offer protection, allow other troops on foot dismounted to be able to maneuver as close as possible to the enemy. You can imagine even from their sound, they can take you very close without giving away your location. Wow. So these are good game changers for us in the army. And we're very happy that they're here, and we're going to utilize them very well. But like we said, a good general is that general that wins a war even without firing a shot, which means as they are surrendering, those ones that are smart enough will surrender and leave, because once you come after them, none of them will be safe. So it is important for them to know, and we appeal to them to understand that it is better for them to do the rightful. They should not allow anybody to sway them into believing that they can win the Nigerian state. It is impossible.
Now, have you begun deploying this new equipment?
No, very soon. We have started. We're using them in training already. We're deploying them accordingly. Some are already in the field conducting operations.
Okay. At the 7th Division Garrison Command, I had the opportunity to see some of the game-changing weapons, including the brand new ST-1 Armored Destroyer Tank and the ML-60 reconnaissance vehicles. Captain J. Ilyasu is the 7th Division Garrison Tank Company platoon commander. He speaks on the capability of the ST-1 tank.
This is an ST-1 tank. Before you is one of the latest tanks in the inventory of Nigerian Army Armored Corps. They were inducted into this operation on 23rd December 2020. We use it to fight during Operation Turata Kebongo alongside with the BT-4 tank in the Timbuktu Triangle General area. The tank is highly mobile and is being mounted with 105mm smoothbore gun. It's capable of firing a moving target. When you lock on the target, the gun will keep on following the target till engage the target.
Behind me is one of the newest main battle tanks in the inventory of the Nigerian Army, the ST-1. The ST-1 has been effective in some of the most recent battles that the Nigerian Army has been involved in. When the former Chief of Army Staff gave a direct order that Marte should be recaptured from the Boko Haram terrorists, the ST-1 was in the thick of battle. As the garrison commander, General A.G.L. Haruna, led his men to recapture Marte, and it took just one day for the Nigerian Army to retake Marte from the Boko Haram terrorists.
It runs faster than a Buffalo Hilux. We have tried that, yes, during reinforcement on Maiduguri, Damaturu, main supply routes. I tried that. I personally tried that. I opened up and I asked my Buffalo to follow me, which they couldn't meet up with me. So that was when...
How many kilometers per hour can this one?
I cannot tell, but that very day I tested it. We were going for reinforcement, so I moved before them. They catch up with me by the Air Force base and I said they should come. I instructed my drivers to open up, and none of them could meet up with us. Yes, that is when I realized that the tank is highly mobile. You can come inside.
We have emergency fire bottle here. So whatever them come for emergency, even in the night before anything, then you run that 4 bomb here. I can fire 4 bomb. My loader is very sharp. When I fire, my own to M here, see the manual here. I can change it. I don't change it to electrical. Now, maybe I just deal like this more with the on Habo area in the bush. Boko Haram can attack us before we this thing. So me, I have advantage that I can run down, I can fire 4 gun truck, and I get it before my battery run down. You cannot run down because the motor they okay. Before my timer image reboot, then I can run down 4 gun. Then if my timer image peak, that I don't buy job with that. Then I will just change it. If I change it, this one I change it to electrical.
Given the array of fighting equipment at the disposal of the army, total victory over Boko Haram insurgents is only a matter of time. Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, Maiduguri, Borno State.
The reason why you shouldn't miss Journalist Hangout on Sunday, I told you last Thursday, and I can tell you that next Sunday, another one is coming. I won't let the cat out of the bag. But Jide spent the better part of his Utah season going with these people in the Northeast. One thing about these armored vehicles, and it's like, it's a battle changer if it's well deployed.
Yes, yes. People have not forgotten what we were able to achieve with the T-72 Russian tanks in 2014 and part of 2015, when we recaptured the communities that Boko Haram had captured from Nigerian troops. We got all of them back. Of course, the Chadians were in our country, deployed in northern Borno, and they also recaptured some communities, but the T-72 Russian tank did a tremendous job, and that's how the late tank commander Abu Ali became popular, because they will move him from one, he will have finished capturing a community, they will use helicopter to pick him, take him to another community, and they will get into the T-72 Russian tank. We are still going to do a story about the T-72 because I saw them, I entered them, and I interviewed their engineers and all that. Nigeria
is so good at maneuvering.
Yes, he was a tank commander. His dad was also of the armored corps. His dad is a traditional ruler now. So it's like maybe he got some training from his dad even before he became a soldier. You know, because he was so good that once he gets into that T-72, the assurance of victory is there, and he was highly respected. So he got double promotion, you know. But in 2016, he was killed by Boko Haram in Malam Fatori. You know, he had won the war because they came to attack in the night. He had won the war, so it was in the process of checking to see whether all his troops. He was what do they call this? Just doing head count to be sure that all the men that he took to war were fine. That was when he was fired.
He had already.
He had won the war. He had defeated those guys, and then he was just going around checking to see if everybody was fine, which is the right thing for a commander to do, because you are the one who took them to battle. And then in the process, he was fired at by the terrorists. So that tells you how good an armored tank, a main battle tank like that T-72. That T-72 can even enter river and come out at the other end. Depending on how deep the river is, you can enter and come out at the other end. So some of these weapons, when we acquire them, they make us stronger. Look at Sukado, for example. Boko Haram can hardly move around in daytime anymore. They can't. Those attacks have reduced. I'm not saying that we have won the war. Remember, you asked me this question. I was reluctant to say we are winning. I'm very patient in matters like that, so that something does not happen and then you look like a fool and a liar. You understand? It will take a while before we comprehensively defeat these guys, but there is improvement from what I see. They know now that any time that they try to move around, they will be sighted, and we have more aircraft now in the air. It's not like before. We have aircraft. Boko Haram likes attacking at night because they stole night vision goggles from the Nigerian army. In one of the attacks, they took away a good number of night vision goggles. So when you put on the night vision goggles, at night time looks like daytime. You are able, so they like attacking at night. But we now have more equipment with night fighting capability. So even at night, they are reluctant to come out anymore. They know that they will be found out and killed. So what are they now doing? They got rockets with mobile launchers. So they launch the rocket into civilian areas, kill innocent people, and then run away. So that's one of their strategies. Or go to a remote area, open fire on troops on that location. But the truth is, with the weapons we now have, there's improvement in the northeast. I won't be surprised if the people of Borno State say, Army, please reduce this curfew. We really don't need this curfew anymore, because Maiduguri was bustling. You see the market, what's it called, the supermarket, and all that open, and people are living their lives.
During this
yes, better than it was some years back. I've been going to that place since 2016. There's no year that I didn't go to see Nigerian troops. These same troops that some people deceive themselves that I hate. There's no year since 2016 that I've not gone to see them. I have friends among officers, friends among men. So I can tell you that the way Maiduguri was bustling this last time, this December, this Christmas time that I went, was not the way it was before. And even the governor told me that, Babajide, this year we reaped plenty of harvest. So it means that in places where people could not farm before, they are able to farm now. For the governor, who is also a critic of the military, for him to say we were able to reap more harvest this year, that means there is progress being made. We have to admit it and give kudos to the people who are laying down their lives so that the rest of us can be free of danger.
It's been a while that we've been talking about equipment. So what you showed last week plus what we are seeing now, you now see that, look, in no time they'll be able to stem the tide of this terrorists called Boko Haram.
Well, first of all, I think one should commend the excellent investigative journalism that was carried out by Babajide. These are the things we need to do, because it's not just about handouts from the military, press statements. We need to engage them. And I also commend the military for opening up.
Yes,
because waging war, buying equipment, is also about spending public funds. And the public should know, they should have access to those weapons to know how their funds are being used by the military. If you look at those gadgets, you know they were bought in billions. You will just sympathize with the huge allocation that goes into defense every year. But if you don't have access to them, it's very easy for you to criticize them. So I think this kind of expenditure will broaden public understanding and appreciation of what the military is doing. I think the commander said one thing: the equipments are fantastic, but he said the state of mind of the fighter is also very important. And I think that is where we need to work on, so that people must, people are going to the war front people joining the army, they are joining just for personal interest, not just because I need a job, but because they genuinely want to defend their country with passion. They really love the job, you know, with a lot of passion for the job that they are doing. And I think, I hope in the long run, we're able to consider spending less on things like this so that we can invest in what we actually defeat the root cause of terrorism. You know, creating a conducive environment for people to get jobs and all that. And I believe the success in Maiduguri cannot be isolated from the political authority that we have in that state today. The governor is doing well, and I think he's actually also committed to ending terrorism. So it's not unexpected that things are working good for the better of the society in Borno State. So I think it's a very good story, and I really commend Colonel Babajide Kolade-Otitoju.
Honorary Colonel.
You know what we see, the process of getting this thing, I was actually discouraged. It took long, as in order for this. Look at the Super Tucano, took 4 years. So that's they would have wreaked a lot of havoc between that time.
Yes.
But thank God now we started taking delivery of this.
That's the nature of procurement of military weapons. Sometimes it takes up to 7 years. Wow. I know that the Indians, for example, they bought some fighter aircraft from the US. It took about 7 years, you know. So because it is after you place the order that they will start making it. It's not as if you can buy it on the shelf. No, when we got the T-72s, we had to buy from third party. You know, from Eastern Europe. We bought from Ukraine, I think Belarus also. We bought from those ones already had it. That they bought from the Russians. And maybe they needed money. We had to say, see, we need this thing desperately. What can we do? You can buy from the black market, but it's always very costly. That's why people advise against, because the person wants to sell for you in the black market, he knows you are desperate. So he's out to exploit you. You know? So, but thankfully, we had the Donald Trump who said, look, I'm going to help you to defeat terror in your country. Because under Obama, they refused to sell weapons to us. Even when we wanted to buy the Chinook helicopters from Israel, they vetoed it because they reserved the right.
Okay, the manufacturer.
Yes, for you to resell, you must talk to them. Yes, because it could be somebody that a country that they will not want their weapon to get into their hands that you want to resell to. So they are the ones who will sanction that resell. So we wanted to get Chinook helicopters because the Chinook helicopters can do so many things. It's a multi-role helicopter. You can use for troop insertion. You can use that ambulance. You know, and you can use that ground attack helicopter. So they refused to sell to us because the Americans vetoed it. Of course, Jonathan and Netanyahu were good friends, but he couldn't do much to help us because the Americans said no way. They cited the Leahy law. But Donald Trump, yes, you may call him a madman, he brushed aside the Leahy law and then decided to sell for, and I'm grateful to him for that. No matter what, I'm grateful to him. If not for him, we won't have the Tucanos. You will hear the pilots talk about Tucano. You will know that we've never had any aircraft like that until now. Yes, the Tucano is just special. If the Tucano does not have many does not launch many rockets because it is not expected to miss. Unlike other aircraft, so many, even the holster, you have there's space for so many rockets. In his own case, if it is launching that rocket, one gun truck is gone. There's no two ways about it. The precision is just too much. So this is the thing. We have these weapons. We are happy because we know that it's just a matter of time. And then the commitment. You had the theater commander saying the heart of the man is very important. You can have gadgets if you don't have the heart.
Utilize it.
Once you hear the gun, maybe Boko Haram fired the anti-aircraft gun, and you take to your heels. How do you then win with the game-changing weapon? So, but at least the generals are doing their best, and I'm really grateful to them for the opportunity, the opportunity that they offered me. The theater commander, Major General C.J. Musa, Brilliant officer. I'm sure even if he was not a soldier, he would excel in other fields because of his erudition and all that. Brilliant man, speaks excellent English. And then the garrison commander, 7th Division, General AGL Aruna, who accompanied me to Koshebe. I'm really grateful. He was in Liberia. He fought in Liberia, and you know that Haruna is an old-fashioned general. He goes everywhere with his rifle. Despite the fact that he had 8 gun trucks to protect us, he was still going around with his own rifle. He's ready for battle any day. And he's so well respected by his officers and men because he's an exemplary officer.